Guys, Rob here. Thanks for joining me on another video. Today's video is going to be a quick one. I just want to give you guys a walkthrough on my fishing kayak. I've been getting a lot of questions about it lately, and I did promise that I was going to do a walk around on this here kayak setup that I did, and also on my DIY trailer that can separate into two different pieces so you can store it very easily. So let's go ahead and begin. All right, we're going to start with the kayak first. This is a Ascend 133X. It's a Bass Pro Shops kayak, and here we have the logo. And there's the model right there. It is a 13-foot kayak. The width is about 38 inches wide, and the weight of the kayak with just the seat is going to be 125 pounds. So it's kind of heavy, but it's a big kayak. It's meant to handle big conditions. Weight capacity of like internal capacity is 550 pounds. And this kayak is rated for a gas outboard. I believe it's a 3 or 4 horsepower gas outboard is what they want you to put on the back transom. And they want you to run a spot lock and trolling motor set up in the front. You have your plate right here for that. I don't have mine set up that way. I've got mine with a transom mounted trolling motor setup. And all I have here is a Minn Kota 45-pound thrust. And this thing seems to be doing the job. And the reason I like the Minn Kota 45-pound thrust is because it doesn't draw a lot of amperage. So you can get a little bit more runtime versus like a 55-pound thrust, which would move you a little bit better in heavier currents. But so far the 45 has been pretty good. The prop on the trolling motor, you guys can see that this is not a factory prop. This is actually an APC marine grade airplane prop, and that can be purchased for about $5. I've been running that for about a year now, no issues. And the best thing about that is if you pick one of these up, make sure you trim the edges on it, because they're about this long and they're pointy. You round it off, take a little bit off. It cuts away from vibration in the water, and just runs really smooth. I am getting 20% speed increase with this, as well as it's drawing less amperage as well. So with the regular Minn Kota prop, I was averaging about 3.3 mile an hour, 3.5 sometimes here and there. And then when I put this prop on, I'm averaging close to 4, sometimes 4.2, 4.5 mile an hour. So quite the increase in speed there. For such a weird and tiny little prop, you would be surprised. For my steering setup, for my motor, it's foot pedal steering. That way I can be totally hands-free. And I just have that rigged up with some paracord here going to the foot braces here. And if you pull it one way, the motor will actually turn either direction. So you got a pedal here and then a pedal there. Really handy, really smooth. And this is just like a little DIY bracket that I made for my steering here that comes off. They sell brackets you can buy, but I went ahead and just made my own. I like making stuff, so I like the challenge and the reward that you get after, you know, building something successful. So that's how I do my steering. The top of the trolling motor is removed. There's no handle here. That's cut off. I'm running 2 wires here, power and ground, in the trolling motor to one of these here plugs. These quick attach or quick connect plugs. They just snap in like that. Waterproof. I've been running that for I think over a year now. I haven't had any issues with that at all. I am running heavy gauge wire through the hull of the kayak. I'm running 8 gauge wire through here, and it runs down inside the kayak and then comes out to another one of those plugs right here. And reason I'm doing that is so that way, you know, under heavy amperage, you know, you're not going to have any wires melting or anything shorting out. So no issues with that at all. And let's go on to the battery here. So my battery is inside this box here, and let me see, I might be able to take it out or open it up so you guys can see. Move this down, disconnect this. that out of the way. So for my battery, I'm actually running a LifePo battery that a company called Redodio sent me. And I was actually running one of their batteries before they even sent me this one. And when I was on Amazon shopping for it, I just thought that it was a good battery. And the price was pretty good for the other one that I used to have. And then they reached out to me and they asked me if I wanted to review this battery here. And I said, absolutely, because I already like the company. I had great success with the other battery. The only thing is that with this new battery here, it has Bluetooth technology built in, so I can go on my phone and I can actually see what the amperage draw is, and I can see how much battery life I actually have based off the amperage draw. So if I increase my throttle on the trolling motor, it'll tell me, hey, you have 6 hours left, or hey, you have 8 hours left of battery. So it's helpful because it can really help you manage your time on the water and not end up stuck having to paddle. So this is the battery here. It's kind of hard to get to because I have everything wired up and stuff, but you guys can see that's the battery there. I have this set up on a custom PWM, which stands for Pulse Width Module, and that's this right here. And I have this rewired and spliced into this here cable, and then I built my own speed control box here. So this speed control box does have a magnetic kill switch, but I was having a little bit of a connection issue with it, and I took it off and just haven't messed with it. Probably something I'm gonna dig back into and work on. But this right here box is completely waterproof. I've got a battery gauge here, so I know what I'm doing just by looking down. And then you have your throttle here. This is how you power for your speed, and you have forward, reverse, you know, and then off. And this thing is magnetic. So it just snaps onto this here little bracket that I made, just like that. And now it's not gonna come off. And then this bracket can actually fold down. So now you can get out of the way. And I will typically do that if I'm throwing the cast net, because, you know, the net kind of can catch on things. So I'll fold this thing down, that way nothing ends up in the water. Just put that back like that, and this locks into place just like that. And for my electronics here, for my fish finder, I'm running the Garmin EcoMap. This is the 44DV. I think this one's discontinued, but it's the same thing as the 44CV, I believe, or really identical, or close to identical, I should say. This has down view imaging on it, pretty nice. It's got navigation and charts and stuff, and really good setup. Lately I've been having a little bit of issues with this here plug, so I'm gonna see if maybe I can order another one and fix that. And then I'm just running a rod holder right there, and my main rod holder is this beast right here. It's made out of PVC, and I can hold 4 rods in it, 5 rods actually. So there's a rod holder here, one here, here, and then there. And then the other side, this right here is what I store my anchor in. So the anchor just sits in that right there. That way I can quick deploy it, you know, if I want to anchor it down at a spot. And I'm running a Yak Attack anchor trolley with a quick release system. That way, if I catch a big fish and it's pulling me around, or I need to break free from the anchor, I can quickly disconnect it from here, and then I can go free, and then the anchor's got a float on it, so I can go back and retrieve it. Back to the rear tub well area. I've got one-way scupper plugs down here. It's going to be hard to see that, but that will allow water to drain, but water won't come in. And I only run scuppers in the back here, nowhere else on the kayak. And reason being is because I've been out in some real sketchy situations and stuff, and where it gets real rough. And one time I had the scupper plugs in, and I had to kind of get up out of my seat a little bit to pull them out, because I was getting a lot of water in the kayak. And it's crazy because, you know, when you have the water kind of moving you around like this, you don't want to be getting out of your seat and messing around with stuff. So I don't run any more scupper plugs in the front of the kayak, except for here, which is where my transducer runs into. And yes, this kayak does have a transducer area right there. And back to the tub well here, I've got a bilge pump, just over 1,000 gallons a minute, this single pump. And the reason I have that here is just because sometimes water gets back here and it won't drain out because of the way the kayak sits in the water. You know, it's kind of like stern heavy, you know, so or you know, just the way the weight distribution is on the kayak here. You know, you usually have your cooler back there and ice and drinks and stuff and tackle and gear, and then you sit kind of not in the middle but farther back a little bit, and then usually the bow is the lightest, so the kayak does kind of sit with a little bit of tilt, you know, like a traditional boat would. So I run a bilge pump here, and I have a simple wiring setup. It's just running right into the yak power system of the kayak, and that way all I have to do is my yak power will be on because I'll probably be running my fish finder and stuff, and all I got to do is just hit S for stern, and that's going to turn that pump on. It's going to start pumping all that water out of there. Another thing here in the front, I've got like headlights here, and these are like ATV like light bar lights, small, like 2 by 2 inches I think, and each one is 1,000 lumens, so I got 2,000 lumens of light, and it is really bright, especially in low light and even in, you know, the dead of night. Extremely bright. And I just have that screwed into here like that, and it's spliced to like a little yak power plug here, and I just have that ran in there. So once again, I could just control that from this as well. Another thing is my navigation lights here. I've got it on either side, and same thing, I can control it from that yak power system. It does have internal storage here, so you have the storage compartment, pretty deep tub. You know, I keep extra tackle in here. Sometimes I put my wallet and keys and stuff like that, and then this whole thing can come out. See if I can do it with one hand. Nope. So this whole thing comes out, and now you have access to the interior or hull of the kayak itself, and you can store gear down here and stuff. And I've done that before. I've stuffed tents in here and tarps and stuff, and you know, whatever stuff that you might need. So it does have this internal space, which is nice to have. Another thing with this kayak here is it does come with a seat. The seat is pretty comfortable, but I did have to make some changes to it, just because it has this weird bar that comes across here, and it sits really far back. So for me, I sit and I'm like almost hanging out of this thing, and it just puts a lot of really like bad pressure on my lower back into this area here, because there's no support back here, and I feel like it needs that. So I modded it, and I put some PVC here and just angled it a little bit, and then I put this here like kneeling pad and just zip tied it to the seat, and it's like really good now. It's super comfortable, where, you know, I don't feel like I'm in any pain at all. And inside the seat, it's got this sleeve here, so I usually stick stuff in there, maybe a rain jacket, or in this case, you see guys, I have a trash bag in here, and the reason for that is in case it rains or something, I can cover up my battery system here, because this is not waterproof. So I do want to, you know, protect my electronics to the best that I can. All right, so one more thing that I forgot to talk about with my motor setup here is this system here. You guys can see how I have this rope coming through a pulley system, and it comes up and around, and then that runs to here and to this thing right here, this cam lock, and I have a handle on it, and that's so that way I can lift my motor up or lower it down. So you guys can see it's not all the way up, but it can go up maybe another inch or two, and you guys can see that it's like flush with the kayak. And the reason I did that is so that way when I'm in really shallow water, I can pull that motor up and I can adjust the depth, and I can still run it. Not necessarily at full speed, because it'll just chop the water up, but you can still run it and still push through really shallow stuff without having to use the paddle. And then if it just gets way too shallow, you just pull the whole thing up and use your paddle or get out and walk the kayak, and then you don't have your trolling motor dragging on the ground or anything. So that comes in handy a lot. What else? My camera mount, this is a Railblazer camera boom, and I have it on the Railblazer mount here, the quick lock mount, and I'm going to be testing this out today in the rear to see how the camera footage looks from that. And then my main one, I have it right here. That way I can control it from my seat there, and So far I really like this. I may or may not put one on that side, I don't know yet, but on my rod holder here I have this mount, and another piece of PVC comes into there and extends up probably about 3 or 4 more feet, and I have a 1000 lumen light on there, like a lantern light that plugs into my battery, and that right there would be my like stern light, or if I'm out at night and I need to see around me, that light comes all the way up super bright. I might put a dimmer switch on there so I can control that, but so far it's been pretty good out on the water, no complaints. All right guys, so that's going to be a walk around of my Ascend 133X fishing kayak, and I'm gonna go to the dock. I'm gonna launch this thing, and then I'll probably walk around and give you guys a quick tour of the trailer and how I set that up, and then I'm gonna hit the water and actually do some fishing. So I'm gonna catch you guys in a few. So now the trailer's actually bare, and now I can give you guys a good view of it. So it's actually a Harbor Freight utility trailer that I modified, and then I extended the tongue on it. Tongue I believe is 8 feet, and I made like this coupler system here out of angle iron. That way it's a sleeve, and it actually separates right here. So this is all one piece, and then this is all another piece. And I got 2 holes in it, and I have a lock so that way nobody can mess with it. And then I've also got this here bow stop. Only thing I got to do here with the back is I got to put on some what do you call them? Some guides, some guideposts. But yeah, this is just pressure treated 2x4 wrapped up in carpet, and I have that bolted to the actual trailer itself, and then I've got PVC here with some holes, and I heated it up right here and just bent it. That way the kayak can slide on and off really easy. I made these little brackets here, that way I can have tie downs. And even like, because it's a 2-piece trailer, I had to rewire the trailer lights, so now this disconnects here. So this front part of the trailer, the tongue, has its own wiring, and then it clips into the rest of the trailer. But yeah, pretty simple yet functional setup, and it's exactly what I needed. That way I can store it nice and easy, and it only takes like 2 minutes to reassemble. So yeah guys, if you guys enjoyed the video, if you guys found it helpful, I hope I answered a lot of your questions about the kayak and even the trailer. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, share the content with somebody. As always, it helps get the content out there so other viewers can see it, helps the channel grow. And until next time guys, really appreciate it. Hope to see you on the trail. Peace.